I wanted to try a little challenge, a little fun activity. I wanted to pick 20 sexy fragrances that I would comfortably recommend, but only gave myself 2 minutes. And although 2 minutes seems like a lengthy amount of time, when you're going over almost 1,000 fragrances and trying to select them as quick as possible and not second guess yourself, it can get a little wild. So I'm really now kind of just coasting, looking back at the list, wondering, did I make the right choices? We shall see. Let's roll my fucking music so I can put you on to 20 sexy fragrances that I would comfortably recommend that I selected in 2 minutes. Blessing one of my beautiful peoples, you know who it is. It's your boy, 𝐷𝐶∗𝐴. So we got 20 different fragrances, both niche and designer, that I have selected in a fast-paced selection to see which one of these sexy fragrances I would comfortably recommend. Now, 2 minutes is a decent amount of time, but again, just going through all the fragrances can kind of get confusing. You're second guessing like, oh, should I swap this one for that one? Nah, I think this one is actually a little bit better than that one. And then you start to second guess yourself. But one of the things I can comfortably say is all of these fragrances I definitely consider sexy, and I think you should at least sample them. So starting from left to right, the first fragrance that I selected was 𝗵𝐵𝐵𝐲 Tobacco Flirting with Vanilla. And just as the name shows, it is a tobacco and vanillic based fragrances with a little bit of a sweet fruity vibe. Soft, sexy, mildly powdery, very handsome. The tobacco note in here is absolutely delicious. And for a fragrance that most people haven't heard about, it is very handsome, very sexy, date night appropriate. It leans more fall and winter appropriate, but absolutely incredible. So Tobacco Flirting with Vanilla is definitely one of these sexy options that I'm comfortable recommending. Next one. The next one is by the House of Amouage, and that's Reflection Man. One of the OGs in the niche game that's absolutely a signature scent in a niche presentation and niche price point. This fragrance is not cheap, but in the gray market, you can actually find it for a really reasonable price. Incredible performance. Some people used to say it was in the space of a Spice Bomb kind of DNA. I don't necessarily agree with it. You can't just throw everything that's pineapple into the Aventus bowl. So in this case, I think they did that with like peppery nuances. Punchy, musky, loud, spicy, sexy, very handsome, ultra versatile, and I feel very comfortable recommending Reflection Man. The shit is that good. Next one. The epitome of gentlemanly swag, Tom Ford Oud Wood. One of the easiest oud fragrances in the designer space to really pull off. It's ultra handsome, also leans more of a cold weather kind of vibe, which are the fragrances that personally speak to me and have more bold, rich, sexy energy. And Tom Ford knocked it out of the park with Oud Wood. So I absolutely feel super comfortable in you getting your entry into the oud space with a little Tom Ford Oud Wood, and it's available in most department stores, so you can go and sample before you buy. Next one. The next one is by the House of Roja, and that's Elysium. And I'm comfortably recommending this joint because it's a hypey type fragrance. It's a loud, bergamontish, bright, citric, almost aquatic and ozonic kind of energy fragrance that is in the space of something like an Aventus. Loud, boisterous, fruity, sexy, musky, rich, beautiful sillage bubbles. So if your goal is to garner mad attention or at least be noticed by people walking by, this is a fragrance that 100% can give you that factor, as long as you wash your ass in your undercarriage, because some of y'all motherfuckers be stinking. Next one. Of course, in the hype train, you gotta throw a little Dior Sauvage, and in my case, it would be the Elixir. For me, this one just smells a little bit more mature, a little bit of a coffee ground essence, a little darker, a little bolder, a little bit more man. Not saying that the other Dior Sauvages is trash, because that wouldn't be the case, but for me, this one just speaks a little bit more to my personal taste and my old ass man look, but swaggy. So I'm definitely comfortable recommending Dior Sauvage Elixir. At least for my taste, this shit is sexy. Performance, hype beast, word to work, word to party, word to bed. Next one. This is a new acquisition, and for me to throw it into this list in that 2-minute rumble says a lot. Tom Ford Black Lacquer. Inky, dark, different, sexy, bold, spicy, super unique, and not something that I would really expect from Tom Ford, but happy they did this. It's not often in the perfumery space you get something with risky notes like booze and vinyl and ink, and it have a mass appeal kind of energy. So this one is definitely completely different from anything else that you have in your collection, and I still find it sexy and comfortable enough for me to recommend. Not at retail, and sample before you buy. Don't just go blowing the bag on some of these joints because shit's expensive. Next one. Of course, Yves Saint Laurent Tuxedo. I've talked about it 500 times. There's nothing more I need to say. The volume of the bottle and the fact that I have a backup to the backup should be more than enough to let you know, yeah, I'm wildly comfortable recommending this shit. It's my scent. Next one. Not the easiest to find, but if you're really interested, you can find it. 𝐶H Man Privé by Carolina Herrera. The flippy top, absolutely incredible. Boozy, leather, sexy, underrated designer fragrance in my personal opinion. It is, I believe, discontinued. Not impossible to find, but sometimes you're gonna pay a premium for it. Do I think it goes for the premium? Not necessarily, but it is very handsome. I'd say shop it around without desperosity. And most importantly, just get yourself a sample and see if it's your type of vibe. When it was readily available, I think it was wildly underrated in my opinion, but I still hold this shit as a sexy ass fragrance. And if I chose it in my quick rush to find these fragrances, then it means something. Next one. And of course, Memo African Leather. I love this. One of my top 3 to top 5 best leather fragrances in my collection. I think this is so unique and so handsome. Another one that definitely leans towards the colder weather, but it has so much character and so much personality. And if you want and really appreciate a leather fragrance, this one is 100% in the space of like, damn, this is so fucking good, based on my taste. So Memo African Leather, definitely comfortable recommending this joint. Next one. This one is a newer acquisition in my collection, Psychedelic Love by 𝗙𝐈𝐍𝐿. What? Sweet, sexy, sultry, seductive, throw a bunch of other S's in that mix. This joint is a heartthrob fragrance to say the least, and I think it absolutely knocks the ball out of the park. If you haven't tried Psychedelic Love, go to one of those department stores, do a couple of sprays, do a lap around, take out a credit card, go into wild debt, file bankruptcy, and then blame it on me. This fucking good. Next, let's get hypey with a little Aventus Absolute. Taking a DNA that's one of the most popular in the world and adding a little bit of a resinous cinnamon type energy. Ay, Dios mío, qué rico. Translation, shit's good. A little pricey, as you would expect from a Creed fragrance, so this is no surprise like, oh my god, really, you're surprised? This is absolutely delicious. I thought it was gonna be a complete shit show when I first got this fragrance, and it caught me completely off guard. Love how it smells on my skin. It has incredible performance off of my skin, and usually my skin is kind of just like a sponge. It just sops up some certain fragrances, and it really doesn't help its performance. But in this case, this is fabulous. Next, and going back to the 𝗙𝐿 squad, side effect? I mean, you've seen the hype all over social media. Influencers, artists alike, people love this scent, and with good reason. Spicy booze and tobacco done gorgeously. There's dudes who wear this shit all year round, also cold weather appropriate, but they don't give a shit. They pull this out. And the fact is, a lot of people who wear this type of fragrance is more for nightlife type energy. So inside of a club, you ACing and you're gonna sweat regardless. And in all actuality, you're gonna be in AC on a hot day anyway, so does it really matter if it's cold weather? You're not sweating. So 𝗙𝐿 side effect? Yeah, it's sick. What? In the designer space with all the flankers for me, Valentino Uomo, born in Roma, just speaks to me as a gorgeous daily wear fragrance with a little bit of a sweetness and a little bit of a unisex quality. Light florals, powdery, sexy, just kind of no-brainer reach fragrance. The sweet candy-like floral essence of this fragrance is really what does it for me. Nice, versatile, and alluring. I think if she gets close enough to you, she'll appreciate that type of scent. Again, if you smell like B.O., she's not gonna appreciate anything but walking away. So make sure your breath doesn't smell like hot hyena balls and you don't smell like 14 Creek dudes in a sauna. And this will help you. Next one. A wild sleeper in that designer wall car brand space, Mercedes-Benz Select Night. Gorgeous cardamom scent, perfect for a date night situation, and usually hovers around that $60 space. You can't beat that shit with a bat. I've said it time and time again, a car brand company should not have come out with such an incredible fragrance. Shocking! But am I comfortable recommending this joint? It's so cheap and good. Hell yeah. Next one. I don't know why I picked this one to put it on the list. I do love the fragrance, but you're not gonna find it. You can't buy it. You can barely sample the shit. I mean, somebody might be selling a decant, but ATH Hard Candy Elixir probably won't be able to get it till like 2025 when they start the distribution in the US, but I love this joint. This takes men's sweet fragrances to a whole new level, and it is very fucking sweet. The performance, outstanding. So if you take little elements of hypey fragrances like an Aventus or an Elysium, bump up the sweetness and raw materials up, and then you add a little bit of a candy cherry type essence, that's what you're gonna get out of this joint, and you're gonna get outstanding performance when you finally get to smell it. Again, this was all chosen in like a 2-minute mark, so maybe this wasn't the best decision because you can't buy it, but these are shits that I like, so I don't care if you buy it or not. I'm just letting you know, if you do come across it, shit's good. Next one. Now, if you want to stick in that niche sweet space, then Triumph de Bacchus is definitely one to check out by the House of Argos. Sweet, sexy, bold, rich, and slightly dry. Boozy musk tobacco vanilla vanilla with elements of peach. Yeah, dudes wear peach. That's a thing. But beautiful performance, a very handsome presentation, if you're into that sort of thing. Not an inexpensive fragrance, but you can get samples of this joint to test it out on your skin. Great performance, beautiful scent profile. I could definitely recommend this joint, especially if you're going on a hot date. Next. Now, if you got a little bit of money and you're comfortable with an easy to wear fragrance, then London Spice would be in that mix. Winter Fresh Greeny Mint Spearmint Energy. Aquatic-y, a stupid reach fragrance. There's nothing here that's offensive. It's got freshy energy with body to match. Like, it could still perform extraordinarily well on your skin for it being a fresh minty fragrance. Now, it's not gonna smell like a black garbage bag with rodent repellent. It's a beautiful spearmint, like an old school Winter Fresh gum, the first 20 chews, because after that, it tastes like a rubber band. So this fragrance is wildly beautiful. I think this is one of the best sexy daily wear fragrances in the Fragrance Du Bois lineup, at least for my personal taste. So can I recommend this joint? If you got the bread, sure, sexy. And speaking of sexy, 𝗙𝐾𝐾𝐾𝐻 by Marc-Antoine Barrios. Shit. I mean, full class, emphasis on the ass part. Ultra masculine, handsome, conversational piece. This would be the icebreaker in a corporate setting. This would be like, I'm sorry, your name was again? You remember my goddamn name. That's the type of fragrance that this is. I don't think it has a ton of hype unless it's been by me, because I'm just a super duper fan. Me and Ja are the ones who hyped this joint because it's phenomenal. I don't even know if this shit's available in department stores. Definitely online. It's not the cheapest of fragrances either, but there might be samples floating around. But as far as classy, handsome scents, this joint, fuego. And we're down to the wire, folks. This next fragrance, I don't know what just made me choose this one, but I know it's amazing. Sand Dance by Stéphane Humbert Lucas. Amber.com. Incredibly rich, super crazy, like crystallized incensey sugar to the 20th power. This has wild performance. It is so deep and mysterious and beautifully sweet and caramelized sugar. Then it has this almost dusty ambery essence with a little bit of a vetiver flow. Then at your dry down, you got that woody, chocolatey type vibe with a mild booziness that's just a nice peat whiskey. Fantastical scent. And finally, a new acquisition in my collection that I've had the interpretation before I got the original. So since I like to get both, I got myself a little Mystery Tobacco by Carolina Herrera. Another sweet tobacco fragrance. I'm noticing that this list had a lot of tobacco in it. Here's the commonality in this list. And again, I'm just realizing now because it was a quick selection of these fragrances. A lot of tobacco, a lot of boozy notes, very few freshies. So they're more cold weather appropriate fragrances, which for me don't really make sense because as I stated before, in hot weather, in hot climate, southern equator or whatever, you're always in AC, whether it be in your crib or in your car. So really those freshy fragrances don't necessarily mean shit because they're gonna fade in the summer. The sweat is just gonna glisten them right off. And it's these bolder, richer, tobacco, resinous, smoky, boozy fragrances that really held the performance. So yeah, this one, fire. So that's 20 fragrances selected in 2 minutes that I find very sexy based on my personal taste and would definitely recommend y'all to test out. I love y'all mother suckers from the heart. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave your comment below which one of these absolutely checks off the sexy mark. And I'll see y'all bitches next time. You know who it is, biggest in the game. Smooches.
What's fresh? Who's best? One of them's gonna pass the test. For the fly gun holder, money folder, motor roller, start tag when it's time to call back. For the rough, rugged, and raw way, this nigga Jay, it's a game, but he don't play. Hey, for all the chicks that got dead in the penthouse suite on top of my mom's crib. It's nonsense you never get in. It's nonsense that you would think that you would.